Just getting started here, guys, on my daily podcast. Got a new episode, and I'm working tonight, so going to do it a little bit early, and I get it out the way, knock it out. So I think that this podcast is very, very vital, and it's going to help you guys get it done. So let's get it started. What's up, gang? How you guys doing? It is Lieutenant Sound Blue, 28-year law enforcement veteran and the author of the top 25 mistakes en route to the good life, man. Check this out. And once again, guys, as I tell you guys, I'm giving away 10,000 copies of my book, 10,000 autographed copies of my book. So make sure you hop on over to lieutenantsoundblue.com. Pick up your copy today. This is vital, man. We cannot get back time, guys. So understand that. And this book here helps you to not make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Okay? This is the manual. This is the book. This is tons of goodness inside of this book that helps you to make sure, right, that you don't make the same mistakes that I made. Right, and people that I've seen make that went down that path called the bad life. So that is me trying to make sure that you guys get it right, man. Don't make that mistake. So pick up your book today over at lieutenantsoundblue.com. Yeah, man. So let's get started today, man. Today's podcast, I think, is vital to your success in relationships, right? In relationships, in life. And just figuring things out and staying on the right path, right? Now, why do you think most of us get on the wrong path? I'm just checking my microphone here. So why do you think most of us get on the wrong path, guys? I have been evaluating this over and over again, time and time again, trying to figure out why do most people end up on the wrong path in life, and a lot of times they cannot find their way out of it. And I think it's because of the decisions they make, right? And it's not just like one decision or two decisions, right? It is a decision pattern, a decision path that people are on, right? You tend to stick to the type of decisions that validate who you believe you are or what you believe you represent. And so you kind of stay on that path. And a lot of times, guys, that path is riddled with mistakes and problems and issues. And I'm going to be doing a whole podcast on decision making, but I just want to touch on this today because the name of this podcast today, guys, is Let Me Sleep on It. That's right. Let me sleep on it. You know, and the reason is because of the powerful question that comes behind it, right? You know, every podcast I make sure that I throw a question in there to get you guys thinking about your life and the decisions that you make each and every day. So the question behind today's podcast is, why do you need to make a decision today? You know, and that seems to be the ongoing factor of what I tell my children, what I've told my subordinates, the people that work with, what I've told people who I work for, right? A lot of people love to make hasty decisions. They love to make those decisions fast, you know, and they keep it going, and they think that they make a quick decision and they move on to the next, and they got it. That is it, right? And a lot of times it's wrong. A lot of times it's the wrong decision. Now, I know there are many of you that may feel that you need to decide immediately, right? You're probably on the same bandwagon as my children, maybe my wife, my subordinates, and people that I work for. You're probably on the same bandwagon of making a decision immediately. But the truth is, most things don't need to be decided immediately. Most things in life, you don't need immediate decisions for. Yes, if you're standing in the middle of the street and a car is coming, yeah, you need to immediately get out the street so you don't get run over, right? If you're in the jungle and you see a lion, you need to immediately run, right? You know, so you need to immediately get out of danger. These are things that our Neanderthal mind, okay, is thinking about when it comes to decision, right? It's taking every problem that we have and it's throwing it all the way back to our ancestors' days of a decision needs to be made immediately or else we'll die, right? Or else we'll be in danger, or else we'll be in tons of pain, right? And so that is what happens in our mind. And in this day and age with so much going on, we have a tendency to throw everything into that same batch of life or death situations when it comes to making decisions. See, guys, a lot of times when you rush to make a decision, it often turns out to be the wrong decision. And so this is the point that I'm trying to make to people each and every day, right? I'm trying to get people to take a breath, to exhale, right? And just take a moment, okay, before they make that quick, hasty decision. Now, the reason for poor success, for the poor success rate when it comes to making decisions, guys, is because of our emotions. It is due to our emotions that cause the poor success rate in decision making. And the reason is most people, emotions, they change, right? Our emotions a lot of times are all over the place. You know, our emotions change like the wind. And I say a lot of times it's very, very difficult to control your emotions. You can control your actions, but a lot of times, you know, you have a difficulty controlling your emotions. And if your emotions are changing like the wind because you just happen to be living in a volatile situation or around a bunch of volatile people, right? Or in some fast-paced moving business where emotions are up and down like the New York Stock Exchange or something like that, then if your emotions are all over the place, then your decision process is going to be all over the place as well, because it's going to be following the ebbs and flows of your emotions, guys. So you have to understand that when it comes to decisions. When decisions are followed by emotions, emotions take you everywhere. They take you all over the place. So you have to understand that when it comes to making decisions, right? So the reason why I'm talking about this today, guys, basically is because in living in my house with my wife and my daughters, we always seem to have an event, right? It's always an event that is going to change the course of someone's life every week. That's just my house, right? My house is full of events, and each event is going to change somebody's life dramatically. It's life and death a lot of times in my house. So decisions are always being made under extreme amounts of pressure. Tons of emotion, guys, might I add, okay, in this weekly decision process, right? Even as I write this today, guys, even as I write this podcast and I'm talking to you guys right now today, I have issues currently in my house on hand that demand my immediate attention, right? These decisions demand my immediate attention, and here I am, I'm down here and I'm doing my daily podcast, right? And so it is just, you guys understand, I'll get into it. It's just what it is, right? And some of you are living in a house just like mine, or even worse, right? Even worse. So one thing I know, right, is with a house full of alphas, which I have a house full of alphas, nobody is a beta in this house, right? Everybody's going for it, right? With a house full of alphas, everyone's views are fighting to be the first, so that my answer to them is always the same thing, right? Since everybody's fighting to have their views put first, I have to come with the strong answer. And my answer to them is, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. Let me figure it out, okay? Let me get away from the situation for a moment. Now, I want you to know, by the way, right, that that the statement, let me sleep on it, never goes over well in my house, okay? So it never goes over well in my house with anyone, by the way, in my house, because they are all demanding immediate satisfaction for whatever's going on, and a lot of times they are also demanding the ultimate justice, right? They may have felt that they have been wronged, or something is not going their way, and now they're coming to me to give them immediate justice. They need that immediate satisfaction right now, right? And so that's how they're thinking. And I know that those thoughts are all fueled with emotion. So I have to make sure that I don't get caught up in that whirlpool, that tornado, that turmoil of emotion that is going on. Because I know that it is a very, very thin line between love and hate, right? When it comes to family, okay? So that emotion can get whipped up really quick, and a lot of feelings can get hurt. So I always make sure that I tell them, say, let me sleep on it, let me think about it. And the reason that I say that is because they're always driven not by what's right or who's wrong, right? But by the emotions that have built up around their argument or their debate or their current crisis, right? So it's not about who's right or who's wrong. It is the emotion behind it. And a lot of times they feel like if they push really hard in the emotion, that the person listening will get caught up in that same emotion, and then he'll make a decision in their favor, a decision that will benefit them because they're already emotionally invested, right? When you're emotionally invested in something, a lot of times you're not thinking about, what's right and what's wrong. When you're emotionally invested in something, man, you're there, and you don't want that heartbreaking pain of not getting what you want out of that current situation. So understand that when we talk about emotions and immediately making decisions. Now, there's one thing I learned when it comes to being a mediator, right? Especially with family, guys. I try not to be a mediator. I try to back out of every situation that demands that I come in and make a statement on somebody's behalf. We talked about that in one of my podcasts, right? Not committing. But at the end of the day, if I judged fairly, right? And this is about being a mediator. If I judged completely fairly, the mediator always turns out to be the bad guy, man. When you mediate something and both people are fueled with emotion, no matter what decision you come to, if it's a fair decision where both parties you believe win, then you're the worst mediator ever, right? Both parties are totally, completely unsatisfied with your decision, and now you're the bad guy. You're the bad guy, and now they're off to somebody else to see if they can pull somebody else into their emotionally driven argument. So understand that if you're going to be a mediator of anything, guys. So since I learned this lesson, right, about being a mediator, over time, I now implement the let me sleep on it policy, right? The let me sleep on it policy is a game changer, guys. The let me sleep on it policy is a game changer. It is powerful. It gets it done, right? The let me sleep on it policy. And why does it get it done? Because in my house, right? In my house, the let me sleep on it policy, it means I'm going to take the time, right, and see if this issue is really important, right? And if in the morning, right, or a day or two or whatever it takes as far as the issue, if it remains unresolved, then I'll step in and render a decision. So to let me sleep on a policy, it gives you time to think it through. And that's what you need a lot of times, guys. You need time to think things through instead of quick jumping to decisions based on your emotions, or based on your assumptions, or based on what you believe, okay, should be the right thing to do at the time, which may or may not have all of the facts behind it. So understand that as well, right? You also want to make decisions based on the facts, guys. Based on the facts, right? Based on what is best, right? And also, guys, you got to look at the long-term effect of making quick decisions. You can't back out of quick decisions. You can't do it, right? Once you make them, they're made, bang, they're in stone. Granted, what you said is what you said, and what is done, and it's very, very difficult to back out of quick decisions. But when you take the Stoic method, okay, and you lay back and you wait on these decisions, guys, then, okay, you could say, I gave this a lot of thought. You could say, I've given this some time. You could say, I've allowed both parties to calm down and come to some form of resolution with the decision that I'm about to make. Okay, that's what happens when you give it time. Okay, so this technique that I use, the "Let Me Sleep on It" policy, works in so many ways, right? So many ways it works for me and for my family and for people who I just happen to have to be a mediator for, which I told you guys I try not to do. Unfortunately, in law enforcement, I have gotten stuck being a mediator thousands and thousands of times. Okay, so that's just what it is. That's just part of the job, right? So you're always resolving other people's issues, and so I learned how to get really good at it. But a lot of times, you know, when you're out there in the street and you're law enforcement, you cannot say, let me sleep on it. This is just something that you use at home, guys. All right. But one of the first things why this technique works is that, number one, it allows emotions, right? It allows emotions to cool off so that the decision, a decision needs to be made, and so the parties involved won't be blinded by their emotions, and they're going to be able to see your logical answer that resolves the issue. See, if everybody is so caught up in their emotions and immediately pounding away at what the answer is going to be, and whether this person is going to get satisfaction or that person is going to get satisfaction, when you back away from it, it gives people time to say, you know something, maybe I was wrong about this, maybe I was wrong about that, maybe we can negotiate something a little better that will benefit the both of us. So that's the first thing that the sleep on it technique allows, right? The second thing that the sleep on it technique allows is this, right? It gives the parties involved time to come up with an answer or solution on their own, man, on their own, and something that they can agree upon. And I think that is far more important, especially when it comes to family issues and things involving the family and the heart and the emotions. I think it's far more important to allow your family members to come up with their own solution to their arguments and disagreements, rather than you having to be the guy, the one that comes in to set everybody straight. I just think that it's a lot more powerful and a lot easier to make that distinction when it comes to being a mediator. It's better. The best part about being a mediator is when you don't have to be a mediator because the other two parties have already come to their solution. So that's the best part of that. That's the second thing. And just to add to that, the last thing is this, man. It keeps me from being drawn in emotionally because, guys, we all know how easy it is, right, for family to draw you into their emotional turmoils. because you're emotionally invested in your family, loving and caring for them. You know, if they're your children, you're raising them. If they're your wife, you love them, and you're trying to do the best for them, or your husband, whatever. So it is easy to be drawn into something that you're already emotionally attached to, which is your family. So understand that sleeping on it technique is very, very powerful. So guys, listen, the next time you are faced with a decision that has you all worked up emotionally, sleep on it. Sleep on it. Listen, I'll tell you what, I had a situation. I was woke up out of my sleep last night, and I thought I was going to have to make a decision, right? And as I thought I was going to have to make that decision, as I'm laying in bed and finding it very, very difficult to fall back to sleep, all types of negative thoughts flew through my head. Tons of negative thoughts flew through my head. None of them beneficial to anybody. Those decisions were all lose answers that I was coming up with in my mind. And finally, I was able to drift off back to sleep, and I went and I got up in the morning and I had a little bit of coffee and had some breakfast and went to work, and now I'm back home and I think about it, and it wasn't all that serious, man. It wasn't all that serious. And so everybody is all happy all over again, and I'm so glad that I did not get involved in that situation at that time, right? I would have ruined everything. I would have come up with all the wrong answers, okay? And I would have caused a tons of issues that may have never been resolved, because I should not have put my 2 cents in. I did the right thing finally. I kept my mouth shut. I kept my mouth shut. So the sleep on it technique is powerful, right? And like I said, guys, I'm sure if you sleep on it, in the morning you will have a much clearer mind, like I did, and a better perspective over the entire situation. So listen, today's podcast is a little shorter than usual because I am working at the movies tonight. I may hop on and do another section to the podcast while I'm at the movies. I'm working there. I'm watching Spider-Man. I'm working the event Spider-Man Far From Home. So I know a lot of you guys are probably excited about Spider-Man, and all you Marvel fans. So that's what I'm doing. I'm wrapping up for the day. But either way, guys, make sure when it comes to the decision-making process, don't be quick to judge. Don't be quick to commit. Don't be quick to make a decision. Sleep on it. All right? I'm Lieutenant Sal Blue. I'm wrapping it up for the evening. Make sure you guys hop on over to lieutenantsalblue.com and pick up your copy of my book, Top 25 Mistakes En Route to the Good Life, 2nd edition. Okay? I'm giving away free, guys, 10,000 autographed copies. You just pay the shipping. Okay, so hop on over there, and I got tons of extra specials and benefits over there on my website. So I got an audio book that took me about 7 days to do, and a coaching course. So all you need over there at lieutenantsalblue.com to make your life better and for you to make fewer mistakes. So this is Lieutenant Sal Blue. Make sure you hit me up on social media: TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blogger, Reddit, and something else. All right. But anyway, guys, I will talk to you guys tomorrow with my daily podcast. Happy Friday. Have a good night. Deuces.